Okay.
What was the deal with Terry B? I was the only white girl on
You
Ruthless,
know,
right?
you know, I wasn't so much involved with the acts. I was
Okay.
involved with the business aspect and make sure that the deals were being done and we were protected legally and obviously with security and legally. That was my main concern was to make sure that Ruthless would survive, and it did. Obviously, when with the Bowen deal and with the RED deal, it completely turned the financial situation around. You know, I explained it last time, but we went from getting 16 to 20% of an entity without owning the masters, from owning the masters to 80 to 84%
Hmm.
of the entity. And that's something I totally set up and did the deal.
So you guys became pretty much
Wow.
priority was just your distributor then, right?
Priority was a distributor until that time,
Okay.
and then Sony RED became the distributor.
They're out of business now. I know a few people had deals with Red.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the time they weren't doing too good, but it was part of Sony, and I believe the guy's name was Colburn. I forget his name. But we flew to New York, met with them, and ended up doing a deal with Sony. And at the time, we were suing Sony.
Hmm.
And I was introduced to the head of business affairs of Sony Music through Joe Isgro, if you know who he
I
is.
know exactly who he is.
Yeah, well, Joe made the introduction there, and through Sony because he had a good relationship with Sony, and Joe was a good friend of mine. We
You,
go back.
you know,
We go back
Joe
quite a
Iskro.
ways.
Joe Iskro was probably the only person I saw Jerry damn near afraid of. It seemed like. I mean, it was me and Joe when I dropped the Lights record. Jerry and I went on to Joe Iskro's office, and he's like a pretty cool guy, but Jerry's level of respect was like for me it was shocking because I never seen him show that much respect for anybody. I mean, he's not a disrespectful cat. He just was over the top. Talk to me.
Well, did I tell you the story of what happened at Joe's office?
No.
Which I thought was so. We had a meeting at Joe's office. Me, Eazy, and Jerry. And this was down in Burbank, and he was up around way up in the high rise over there.
Yeah, I remember you could see Universal Studios from his office.
Yeah. So we're waiting for Eazy, and Eazy was late as usual. Eazy could never be on time for anything.
Right.
So he finally comes up, and in his hand, he's got a police, those meter maid ladies.
Yeah.
People who give tickets.
Right.
He had her ticket book in his hand.
Okay.
I said, "What is that in your hand?" And he said, "Well, I was parked down there, and this meter maid told me to move." I said, "No," and he got in an argument with her and took her ticket book and went and parked, and she called the police. And when you look down there, it looked like a police parking lot. There was that many police officers down there, and they were looking for Eazy.
Wow.
They were looking for Eazy for confronting or maybe assaulting a police officer.
Okay.
So Joe was up there. He didn't know what the hell was going on. There's cops all over the place. And I went down there to talk to the cops. They told me, well, we're looking for Eazy. I said, well, we'll have him surrender. So we had one of our lawyers take him down to Burbank and surrender him. And the cops went crazy over there. They just wanted his autograph.
Wow.
And he had a situation, but we cleared it up.
Okay.
But it was a funny story. I mean, here's Eazy coming up with a ticket book, and
Yeah.
she calls the police, and there's hundreds of police cars looking for Eazy.
That's crazy. That sounds like
Nobody
something he
knew
would do,
about
though.
that.
It
Yeah,
definitely sounds like something he would do.
so
Not knowing the seriousness of it.
anything you guys want to clear up or anything you want to know, I'm here to answer any questions. Another issue I've been seeing a lot lately online, and people have been calling me and asking me about Dr. Dre talking to Eazy prior to him dying or going into a coma.
Okay.
Eazy never talked to Dr. Dre prior to him going into a coma. Dr. Dre went to see him at the hospital at the request of one of our lawyers, telling David Kenner if he wants to see him alive, he better go see him. But he did come to the hospital. I was there, and by the time he saw him, Eazy was unconscious. They didn't speak prior to that. There's some rumors there that they talked about doing an album or getting back together. That never happened.
Okay.
Not as
Let
far
me
as
ask you
Dr.
something.
Dre and him.
Now, what about Cube? Did he saw him before?
Yeah,
he died?
Cube. Yeah, he did. They met in New York. I was there, but I didn't go to the nightclub. But they did meet up there, and the twins were with them. He ran into Cube in some nightclub in New York. I don't know which one.
Did anybody know why Yella was the only one came to his funeral? Came to Eazy's funeral.
I do not know.
I was there.
I do not know.
Atrium was there. Yella was there. I didn't see anybody. I thought that was really strange, man. I never understood why that was like that. What would happen with I know they had issues, but sometimes
I was not there because of Tamika and Sweeney, because I don't know if I'd be able to control myself.
Right.
So yeah. I thought it best if I didn't show up and have some kind of scene at Eazy's funeral. I wouldn't think that would be good.
Now, since you mentioned it, it was always, I always gave it to the one eye, the suspicious eye, when I realized he got married on a deathbed. I just
then you got to leave that to your imagination.
Okay.
First of all, who gets married the night before somebody gets into a coma?
Right.
Okay. And I have an agreement that I can't speak about certain things, but that's another issue. People are saying that I said Eazy died of AIDS, and yes, he died of AIDS. Did I think it was suspicious? Yes, but that's not saying that he didn't die of AIDS.
Gotcha.
He had complications, and from what my understanding is, and the medical records are, Eazy went into the hospital a couple of weeks before in N.W.A. Okay, and they diagnosed him with bronchitis. They misdiagnosed him. Okay, and he wasn't getting any better, and the infection kept getting worse and worse. And by the time he got to Cedars-Sinai, the infection in his lungs were terrible. By the time they started treating him, in my opinion, this is only my opinion, I'm not a doctor, though my brother-in-law was a doctor at the time at Cedars-Sinai, and I think it was just too late. And they did a procedure, I think the day after the marriage, and he never regained consciousness. And, I don't know who the doctors were or what they did or didn't do. As I said previous, I offered to get him one of the best pulmonary doctors out there, but I'm not family, and my opinion or my recommendations been way too much,